For over a decade, Rotom-Wash was one of the safest Pokemon in competitive play. Whether it was Black and White, X and Y, Sun and Moon, or Sword and Shield, Rotom always seemed to find a place in the overused tier. But now, you barely see it anymore. So, what happened to Rotom-Wash? To answer this question, I drafted 3 possible reasons personally. First, the power creep. New Pokemon like Ogerpon, Raging Bolt, and King Gambit pressure Rotom much more than older mons used to. Second, the metagame shift. The OU environment no longer rewards what Rotom does best. Pokemon like Petron and Alomomola can functionally do the same thing but at a more effective level. And finally, player perception. Maybe Rotom is still good, but everyone has already moved on to newer options. After all, it's still a staple in the underused tier, meaning that it still has some viability in Scarlet and Violet. We just don't know what player perception towards the mon really is. So, to test these explanations out, I built a team around Rotom-Wash and played a series of games on the mid-ladder to see whether Rotom really has fallen off, or if everyone simply forgot how good it can still be. We'll be using the standard pivot set, as that is what Rotom does best. I'll catch y'all on the ladder and hope y'all enjoyed today's episode. Alright, we're back and it looks like we're against a sort of hyper offense team. I do think that Rotom, well, I don't know if Rotom provides too much value here against a hyper offense matchup. It's not like those sort of bulky offensive matchups where this Rotom usually shines, but I can definitely still put him to work and hopefully we'll be able to see whether or not Rotom can really hold itself up. So against Zaw here, I will just Wisp this. If he goes Hatterene, good for him, but I can always just Volt Switch out into a mod that just threatens it. Perfect. And I think I can Volt Switch out here into my Scissor and get a knock on whatever that comes in. I don't imagine he goes Ogerpon. Actually, there's a very strong possibility he goes into Moth. I think I'll turn here. Nice. So we get that play right. I think Slowking is an obvious play. Probably throwing off a Future Sight here would be beneficial. A Future Sight into Thunder Wave, I think, is our best play. If he goes into Gliscor, I think I'll just have to Chili out. Go into Tusk and hope for the best because that mon is really, really scary. And I think that's our biggest threat this game. But the Future Sight can at least dampen it somewhat. Okay. So he Fiery Dances there. I can Thunder Wave here. He gets the special attack raise, but that's not going to matter too much. He crits me there. Now this is very scary. But I believe Samurott is pretty free here. Usually I might flip, but I'm not too sure about this game. I do think Samurott actually has a fair chance at winning. I'll flip here. I do get the KO, which is awesome. I can go into Rotom here. Pretty safely, I would say. Though maybe in hindsight, this wasn't the right play. It's not the end of this world. He pulses there, which is fine by me. I could go to my Scissor here and U-turn. Because I expect him to Thunderbolt, which shouldn't kill me. Does a lot though, and I can now go into Tusk and click Headlong Rush. Do a fair chunk to something. Zaw comes in, but I can set up my rocks. I imagine the Hatterene comes in here, but there's not much I can do about it. I think the right play would be to go to Rotom. Ogerpon Wellspring comes in, which is fine. I imagine this clicks Swords Dance. Okay, it Ivy Cudgels instead. I can go to my own Ogerpon here. And I should be able to 2-hit KO this pretty safely. Maybe I Terra? I think that might be the right play. Do I need Terra for anything else? Maybe. But I don't like the idea of him. Wait, this is actually really big. I don't know if I'm going to take this trade, though. Maybe stalling out another Reflect turn would be best. The worst case scenario is that he starts Calm Minding up, but I really don't like the idea of him like heavily chipping my Ogerpon. Is Samurott still useful? I suppose he might be. How can I sequence this? If I go to Rotom and I take a Dragon Pulse, that's going to do so much. I don't think that's worth it. And if I go to Tusk, it's even worse. I think I need Tusk Healthy for Gliscor too. I have an idea. I'll Ivy this first and do a lot. He pulses, it's fine. I can go to Samurott here now because I'm stalling out as many Reflect turns as I can. If he Dragon Pulses again, that's a great play. He doesn't, which is awesome. And here I can just click Sucker Punch and knock this out. Perfect. I believe this Ogerpon is Encore, so I just have to be very careful of that. And go to my Rotom here always to Wisp this. Okay, Swords Dance is here. And he's Trailblaze, I know this. So I can definitely Wisp this with my Rotom. This shouldn't kill me. It does. That was a really low chance of killing me. I think I lose now. Unless I get the Speed Tie. Hopefully I get it. He got lucky with that roll. Exactly. Okay, I get it, which is awesome. This Hatterene is fully defensive. I don't mind going to Samurott here and letting him trade and just clicking Ceaseless as many times as I can. Because I am relying on that Great Tusk and that Ogerpon to beat that Gliscor in the end. This is going to do a lot. Wow, that actually does so much. Hopefully I don't Para. It would be really huge if I don't Para. That's really, really bad. I think I lose now. I wouldn't mind not getting parried here. I do mind getting parried here, actually. That's really, really bad, folks. Maybe it's still possible if I get a crit on this Ivy Cudgel. That's what I'm hoping for here. But he really got lucky with that. 81, that's tough. I don't think that was the right play unless he paralyzes me here. I don't think that's the right play. Yeah, I don't think that was the right play, folks. I do too much of this Ivy Cudgel into this Gliscor. I mean, he can protect and Swords Dance all he wants, or Agility, but it's pretty over for him. This is going to do a lot, yeah. He has to kill me here, and I don't think this kills my Tusk. This is going to be Facade. Yeah, unless he crits me and he's adamant and he gets a high roll. Exactly. Oh, and he was slower than me. So yeah, good game to our opponent. We'll move on to the next. I think that Rotom, well, to be fair, in this matchup, we could see that Rotom was really kind of redundant against Hyper Offense. There's simply too many threats that are pressuring it all the time. So in this regard, I don't see it doing so great. But hopefully we'll be able to find a bulky offense matchup, and we'll be able to see whether or not it can really substitute for the modern defensive pivots. So let's check that out, guys. All right, we're back, and it looks like we're against a sort of more balanced type structure. I think Rotom can do well here, but that Hydrapple is definitely really annoying. I really dislike Gliscor, guys, but I will go Rotom here, and I will Hydro Pump. I think it's definitely worth getting damage on this in exchange for being poisoned. I think it's definitely a worthy trade. That's actually even better. I'm surprised he didn't Toxic. Maybe this Gliscor doesn't have it. I'll Volt out here. I don't imagine him staying in. Exactly. He goes into Hydrapple, which allows me to go into Slowking here and create some kind of pressure with Future Sight. I imagine he goes into Gliscor again. Exactly. I'll Chili out here. That's not a big deal. I can go into Samurott here. I know he'll Protect, so I'll Swords Dance up. Or if that happens, in which case, if I Terra this, I do kill. So I'm actually kind of willing to take this trade, folks. Oh, well that happens, and we know that this is Iron Defense. I mean, we know that this is Body Press, so I'm down to go into Rotom here. Ooh, no, Slowking is actually a better play. Future Sight one more time, just to create more pressure. Thunder Wave this Corv, because I would say it's pretty free. Exactly, and Chili out right here, because I think he's still faster. He Roost up, which I don't really understand. And I can go to my Rotom here and do a lot. I have a ton of options. I think Pain Splitting is a safer one. Keeping this Corviknight low is nice. This is a Nerve, I just realized. I'd like to start setting up some kind of pressure with Great Tusk. I want to get Rocks up. But you know, it is pretty hard with Cinderace being there. And if I get the Rocks on my side, it's pretty annoying too, because I don't really have Boots. So, definitely tough, guys. Definitely tough. I'll Future Sight one more time. Ideally, I get something like... That's fine. I'll U-turn here. Seems pretty free. He stays in for some reason. I don't know what he's going to do to me, so I'll go into Scissor. Dragon Tails one more time. Now I get a pretty free Ceaseless Edge. He actually rolled me into the exact thing I wanted. And that's perfect. Knockout Corv right there, which is actually a huge threat. And now I set up a Spike too. My Rotom is a perfect counter to the Cinderace, actually. I would say I don't mind getting another Spike up. But I do definitely see the worry of this Mon. I can Swords Dance here. Oh, that is not the right play, man. Now I get another very strong Ceaseless Edge on the Zamazenta. And this is going to do a lot this time. Or he just lets me take Gliscor, which I'm perfectly okay with. And we get the win. In this game, I do think that Rotom was really nice in pressuring the Gliscor and Corv. And although you guys didn't really see it, it did fulfill its role pretty well. It was able to pressure the Gliscor with Hydro Pump, be able to pressure the Corv, and create sort of a chain loop with Future Sight Slowking to allow Samurott to sort of establish pressure and, you know, create the pressure that we wanted and create progress like we intended it to happen. So this is pretty good, and we've been climbing for 2 games in a row now, and it hasn't been a significant limiting factor on our team or anything. So yeah, we'll try and get one more, and we'll really see what happens. All right, we're back, and we're against another Hyper Offense. It seems that Hyper Offense, I mean, as we know, currently right now, within the SV OverUsed ladder, Hyper Offense and offense structures are the most common because of the prominent power within the current generation. which does make Rotom a bit more redundant, as this is more effective towards like balance type structures, which is probably the weakest structure in Gen 9 right now. But still, we'll try and make it work. I do believe just leading Gliscor and bullet punching twice is the play. He goes in a Moth here. This is actually really tough, but you know, we'll have to try and see what we can do, guys. Wow, that does so much. This has a chance of killing me, honestly. If I Thunder Wave this, how much speed do I reduce this to? Enough. So hopefully I get the wave off. Do I want to accept this trade? What is Rotom even useful for this game? Rotom isn't useful at all, folks. It really isn't, guys. And like, it hurts me to say, but Rotom provides no value this game. Look at their team. Even if Pult is Dragon Dance, how is Volt Switch Hydro going to break that? I think we have to let Rotom go and potentially keep Slowking for a Raging Bolt, I would say. I think that's our plan. He Sludge Waves, which is fine. I can now go Tusk and click Headlong Rush. If he goes into Gold, so be it. Okay. He does that for some reason and gives us a free Terra, which I'm quite... I mean, I don't know why he would ever expect me to Rapid Spin, but fair enough. Now this Mon is in. I know that this usually runs like some type of Dazzling Gleam structure. So I am down to go into Scissor here. He actually makes a great play. I do treasure Scissor's ability here. If he makes it... Okay. That's another great play by the opponent. And he keeps the balloon on gold, which is really big. What happens if I Terra Dark? Actually, I think like late game Terra Grass Pond can win, but I do need chip on this, right? It's if I Terra, it's not like anything's gonna help me if I Terra here. Let me see if Great Tusk kills this with Spitter after a Sucker Punch. 48 to 57, 36.8 to... that's not great odds, guys. But I still think I want a Sucker here. He kills me there, which is fine. I can go to my Bolt here now and click Headlong Rush. He goes into Dragapult, which is fair. I have Gliscor. I mean, I have Scissor. Phantom Force. How much is that going to do to me? A lot, actually, I think. I am getting pretty close to a Terra Steel Bullet Punch win too, but I just need to really consider how I want to structure this. I think I sack Slowking. I go into Scissor and I Bullet Punch something. I do think Tusk is my win con, folks. Now I look at it. I really think Tusk is my win con. I'll Bullet Punch here. He got Thunderclap. I mean, that's not going to do much, right? Maybe spinning there was the right play. I think Terroring here is the right play. And a Rapid Spinning. That's fine. That's not too big of a deal. Oh, that's actually a pretty big thing. Now I think about it. I think I lose. Do I? I think I do. Oh, he misses Focus Blast there. I could go to Ogerpon here and knock off the Rye. That's pretty big. But I do think I lose this game, folks. I don't think Terra Ice was the right play. on the Rye. I think I should have just... Because I thought he was going to Ice Beam. I never expected the Will-O-Wisp. But you know what? Fair enough on a team structure like this. I really didn't expect it, I'll be honest. Sludge Bomb's there. I'll just spin here. Maybe hope for a crit on the gold. That's really all I can hope for. I'll try and make this as close as possible. I hopefully get a crit or something, but you know, good game to our opponent. This was pretty close. Unfortunately, Rotom wasn't able to do much, guys. I think Rotom's really been left behind. But granted, we've only been gone against hyper offense structures, so we'll run just one more game and see if we can go against a balanced structure or not. But I will be honest, and if we can't find any more balance or bulky offense structures, then we'll leave it at that, because that's truly reflective on where Rotom is standing right now. Alright, we're back, and unfortunately, it seems like we are still against a hyper offense team. But I do think there's a lot more potential in Rotom this game. I am still really, really annoyed by Gliscor, but we'll have to make do with what we can. But like, if I'm able to kill that Moltres, I think this Scizor is looking really, really, really good. He leaves with Samurott. I am down to Will-O-Wisp this immediately. This is a pretty big threat, actually. So Wisping this will be awesome for me. I'm curious to see what he does, because this Wisp hits anything except for Moltres. But I don't imagine him going hard Moltres when I can Volt Switch. Maybe he goes into Deoxys, maybe he knocks me off where he sets up a Spike. And in the best case scenario, he goes Gliscor. He flips here. Okay. Excadrill, which is honestly equally great. I am super, super down to click Hydro Pump and miss, which is fine. I miss again, which is really unfortunate. Well, what can you do, right? Maybe Pain Splitting is the right play? No, I don't think it is. I'm slower than everything, too. Wow. Well, that's not really my choice there, is it? I mean, what can you do? I'll go Tuskier and just get up my rocks. He's not really going to do much damage to me. That's really unfortunate, but it is what it is, folks. Missing 3 Hydro Pumps in a row. He goes into Moltres there, which is perfectly fine as expected. I can go into Slowking here and just fire off a Chilly Reception into whatever comes in. U-turns there, which is fine. Goes into Drill. I'm not sure if Samurott kills this, because this is not... How much did this do to my... when it was burned? Actually, this is adamant. So, but I think this is also 252, which makes it so that this actually doesn't kill. No, it does, because it's going to get burned. So, yeah. I think I'll flip here just in case things go south. I don't want to risk anything, right? But keeping these rocks up is really great. Awesome. I'm also perfectly accepting of that. I now get a pretty free Ogre Pawn. I really want to Rock Tomb here. Oh, that's so awesome. Awesome. Wow. That's a huge, huge threat gone. I'm really happy about that. There's a lot of options I can take here, but I think Slowking is my best first. And Chili out. That's not gonna do too much. Because there's not really too many special walls that I'm too scared of. I'm down at Ice Spinner here. That's fine. I do now have a free Scissor, which I can just spam U-turn on. And this will do a lot to anything. It goes into Drill. Now I could get in my Samurott and click a very strong Ceaseless Edge and get up another Spike. I think we're very close to a Terra Steel win, folks. How much does this do to my Ogerpon? A lot. He can either grass or rock move, but I think he'll grass. Awesome. I can Bullet Punch here for free. And do a lot to something. Oh, that's actually really annoying, but that's not a big deal. I'll go to Samurott here. Swords Dance here. Awesome. Now the Ceaseless Edge will send this flying. That actually did less than I thought. But now I have 3 layers up. And I'm pretty sure my Scissor just does what it does. I don't mind just clicking Ceaseless here. He's Sacred Swords, but that's fine. I can just do this now and win the game. I think. If I Terra this should die, right? That's assuming it's got no health investment, but I don't think it does. Yeah, good game to our opponent. We missed 3 Hydro Pumps, but we were still able to take it back in the end, so I guess it's not a big deal. Are we being timer stalled? No, I don't think we are. Perfect. Game to our opponent. We'll end it off there. I don't know, guys. I don't really think... Here's the thing, right? I do appreciate the typing and the ability. I think those are great aspects of Rotom-Wash. And I do think that its defensive bulk is nice. However, I do think it's also clear that there are definitely mons that outclass it. Petulant, for example, basically answers everything that Rotom does, but better. But I suppose if you want a team that's not weak to Tusk, Rotom is always a go-to that you can always pick. And it's pretty good into Tusk and any sort of offensive ground type when you think about it that way. If you put in some special investment onto Rotom, it can be a great Gliscor check too. And for me, I just put in speed to outspeed King Gambit because Wisp also nullifies King Gambit to an extent. So I think if you think about the kit as a whole, Rotom is still a mon that's very worth using. It definitely has its ups and downs, and it might not feel like it puts in much value in your gameplay, but when you seriously consider it as part of an entire team's structure and overall bulk, it's definitely really useful. And I think it can still provide substantial merit to whatever you want to do. So I think that Rotom, although slightly outclassed and outdated now, hasn't really been left behind or anything. And to answer the question for what really happened to Rotom, I think it's just a natural case of mons becoming more and more competitive each new generation, and the introduction of many new mons, making it so that, you know, old mons naturally fade more into the background when a company really wants to promote their new exciting Pokemon that they're releasing. But this is still a staple. Nothing like the monster it was in Gen 7 and Gen 8, but it's still great. So with that, I'll end it up there. It was a great time recording, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys want to see more of this in the future, let me know, and please leave a comment down below for what you'd like to see next. And that's all from me, folks. So with that, peace.